Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about meeting the resident and family needs for admission, transfer, and discharge. When we talk about admission, we need to think about why a resident would be admitted to an adult care home. So, a few of these reasons include rehabilitation after surgery or illness. So, maybe they've been in the hospital and they're trying to get better so they can go home or go back to assisted living or wherever they're supposed to be going. If the resident is unable to safely carry out their ADLs because of situations like dementia and increasing disability, think about the people that are at home. Maybe they have dementia. They don't remember to turn off the stove when they're trying to cook. They don't remember or can't smell the food that's rotting in their fridge. They maybe are starting to get lost when they leave their home and try to go for a walk. Or maybe they have a disability. They're so weak that they can't get themselves dressed anymore or get themselves to the bathroom or, get out of bed safely. Another reason why is if a resident needs hospice services. So if a resident is near the end of life and they are needing hospice services and someone to take care of them full time, if their family is no longer able to take care of them, or if they don't have family and can no longer take care of themselves, those are some of the things that we would think about when we talk about admission into an adult care home. So think back when we first talked about grieving, when we talked about the different things that we are going to lose when people go into the adult care home. Think about what the resident is going to be feeling. Think about that yourself. If you had to leave your home and you had to rely on someone else to take care of you 24 hours a day, there would be some loss there. There would be some loss of sense of control, loss of belongings, different things like that. So be aware of their losses. Make sure that you kind of try to put yourself in their shoes and make sure that you understand that these experiences are going to be happening more and more and more as people get older and as they increase in disability. So they're going to lose their ability to live at home by themselves. They're going to be losing their social circle. Maybe they can't go out to their church group or to bingo, at all anymore. They're going to be losing their sense of purpose sometimes. So your residents maybe they were still working. Maybe they retired from their first job, but they were still working at a part-time job and they had some kind of disabling injury or illness, and now they're no longer able to work or take care of themselves anymore and stay at home. Those are the kinds of things that they're going to be losing whenever they come into your setting. So they're going to be very anxious a lot of times. They're afraid of the unknown, of that loss of control. Let's go back mentally to that Maslow's hierarchy. Those people coming into your home, they're going to be worrying about who's going to take care of me. Who's going to help me to the bathroom? Who's going to, help me eat? Who's going to help me get a shower? Help me get in and out of bed? So really, that's where that person's state of mind is going to be. They're going to be thinking of all those things that they can't do right now. Of course, we try to get them to focus on the things that they can do, but when they're first coming into the nursing home, they're probably still feeling that loss and anxiety from the things that they can no longer do. So they may be confused, especially your dementia residents. They may not be able to understand the environment or what they're supposed to do in the environment. They're used to being at home, cooking and cleaning and doing the dishes and washing the laundry and doing the yard work. All of those things are going to be completely different in an adult care home, and they no longer have to do those things for themselves, or they can't. So they may not understand what they're supposed to be doing. This is going to lead to a lot of residents getting very bored very quickly. Then, especially people with dementia, these are going to be the people banging on the doors trying to get out, pulling the fire alarms to see if they work, doing the kind of things that we think are kind of getting themselves into trouble, but honestly, they're probably pretty bored because they're not doing what they normally would be doing at home. We got to figure out something for them. But in a nutshell, people with dementia, especially, may be confused. They may not understand where the room is, they may not understand where the bathroom is. They're thinking about all those things. Where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to use the bathroom? Where am I going to eat? Who's going to help me? With dementia, that just compounds it. And they may not understand to be able to ask those questions like someone that's more cognitive would. So they may be angry. The resident may voice anger at the family for placing them in the adult care home. So the family members may also show anger towards each other. Now, this is a big thing when you have, say, multiple family members that are involved in the care of a resident, and one of them is the power of attorney, and maybe the person has dementia, they're incapacitated, can no longer make medical decisions. So the power of attorney decides, okay, we can't do this any longer. We really need to get mom to a place where she can be taken care of by some staff. So the power of attorney makes the decision to admit mom to your facility. Well, maybe the person's younger brother says, no, this is not the right choice for mom. She does not need to be in a place like this. We can take care of her. That's not their decision to make. And they're probably feeling pretty angry not only at their older sibling for making that decision, they're probably angry at the resident for putting the power in that person's hands as well. So they may not show their anger towards the resident because it's not the resident's fault that they have dementia and can't decide for themselves anymore. However, they made that decision a long time ago when they were still cognitive enough to do that, and now repercussions are being felt within the family. So the family is also going to feel guilt. This is going to be compounded by the anger, and the anger will compound the guilt. It is a very, very vicious cycle that can build on itself. So the family may feel that they have failed as caregivers. You will see this a lot. Maybe that person with dementia, they've been living at home with a daughter. Daughter's been doing the best that she can. She's been taking care of mom. Mom's healthy. She's clean, well fed. She's got all of that stuff going well for her. But maybe the daughter has to work. And mom's a night owl. Daughter works during the day. So that's kind of a recipe for disaster if you've got somebody that is, the daughter's trying to sleep at night because she works during the day. Well, then mom's wide awake during the day. So what are we going to be doing with that? Or mom may be sleeping during the day, wide awake all night when the daughter's trying to sleep. That's what I was trying to say. So what are we going to do with that? There's only so long that can last before a caregiver becomes so strained that they can't handle it anymore. And that doesn't mean that they're not doing the best that they can for that person. They may be doing everything right. But especially when it comes down to one family member trying to do everything, one person cannot do it all, especially with dementia care. It definitely takes a team. So daughter may be feeling a lot of guilt and feel that she failed mom. But what she doesn't realize is that putting her into a facility where she can be taken care of may be the best thing for her. It probably is the best thing for her. She's not failing mom. She's giving mom a chance at having a better life and giving mom a chance to thrive in an environment where they can support her 24 hours a day, help her with some kind of scheduling with that, give her activities to do, and let the daughter get some rest and go back to being a daughter where she's not a full-time caregiver. So the family may also feel relief. The resident may feel relief as well. A lot of times the resident, is going to be angry at the family, but sometimes if the resident is the one that's not able to keep it all together, they may feel relief. And sometimes you may see where residents have been at home, they've been doing everything for themselves, maybe they've been on their own for a couple years after they lost a spouse, and they just can't do it anymore. And they're trying because they want to seem strong for their kids, because they've always been the strong ones and their kids have always been able to look to them for strength. Again, there's only so long that can last. So when the family helps that resident decide, okay, it's best if you go ahead and go to a care home, the resident may feel relief as well. Then they don't have to keep doing everything. They don't have to, exhaust themselves trying to keep their home nice, trying to do all of the grocery shopping and do all of the things that they're supposed to do during the day. So they may be very, very relieved to get some help. So, what's your job during admission? As always, we are going to assist. That's what we do. So when a resident is getting ready to come in, we want to prepare the room or living space for the resident. So you want to make sure the room is clean, make sure the trash is out, make sure there's no odor in the room, flip on all the lights, make sure they work, check to see that there's plenty of toilet paper in the bathroom, that all the soap's refilled, paper towels. You can work, even if it's not your job to refill the soap and the paper towels, you can work with your housekeeping department for that and just kind of say, hey, I know there's a new resident coming in today. We're a little low on these things. You want to top them off. So you may also put in a resident welcome packet. Some places will have a bath basin, and they'll put in one of the little emesis basin, the little kidney pans, and a toothbrush and some toothpaste and a water pitcher and some deodorant and a comb and just some little toiletries to help welcome the person to the facility, and make sure that they have everything that they need. Because some people may be coming in straight from the hospital and their family hasn't had time to go home and pack them a bag. So they're coming there, no toothbrush, no toothpaste. They don't have, anything that they can use. So the facility can make sure that they're welcome. So you also want to welcome the resident and family. When the resident and family come in, always be courteous and friendly. Introduce yourself, tell them your name, tell them what you do there. Then you want to make sure you make a good first impression. Because if they walk in your facility and you greet them and you're sassy and you're surly and you've had a bad day, you don't want to be there that day. And you say, hey, how's it going? This is your room. I'm going to be your aide. Do you really think that person's going to want you to take care of them and think highly of the facility? Probably not. So you want to make a good first impression. So always smile. Make sure that you greet them with a friendly tone, and make sure that you let them know, they're available for any questions, and anything that you can't ask, then you can find the answer for them. Kind of like greeting a surveyor for the first time. That's how you're going to greet your residents, just without as much nervousness and deer in the headlights look as we all tend to get with surveyors. So when the resident gets there, you want to show them around the room and orient them. Show them where the bed is, how to use the bed controls, how to use the call light. Absolutely use the call light. Tell them how. Tell them where the call light is going to be, and tell them if somebody ever puts you to bed and they forget to give you your call light, just remind them. Make sure that you have it. That might be a good thing for the resident to kind of remind, of themselves and make sure that they understand where it is. So you also want to show them where the bathroom is. Introduce the resident and the family to their roommate. That's very, very important. If the resident is going to have a roommate, you need to make a good first impression with that person. It's up to the roommate to be friendly, of course, but you can always introduce them and maybe tell a little bit of something about the roommate that possibly they might have in common. So if you've got a resident coming in and you found out that he's a retired mechanic from Spirit, and the person in the other bed maybe worked at Cessna, that's something they have in common, both working in the airplane industry. That may help spark up a conversation and make each person feel a little bit better about themselves. Because remember, it's not just the person that's moving in that's going to be anxious and kind of fearful and kind of wondering, who am I going to be living with? It's also the roommate that's already there. So you really need to think about them as well and make sure that they understand that you're still going to be taking care of them and that you're going to be coming to check on them, and kind of like, getting a new puppy and your older dog gets jealous. Hopefully the roommates won't be doing that to each other, but it can happen. So always, always, always want to show the resident around, make sure they know where that call it is and how to use it. Show them the bedside table. If you've got a little bedside table or a bedside nightstand, show them where that is. Closets. Closets are very important as well. Most facilities will have pretty small closets, and some of them may be side by side. And you need to make sure that your resident knows where everything goes in their closet, which closet is theirs. Also, remind them of the sprinkler head and the 18-inch rule, where you have to have 18-inch clearance around the sprinkler heads at all times. So please don't stack your stuff really, really high. That's going to be very, very helpful. So you want to assist the resident and family. When someone comes in, they have to make an inventory list. So they have to mark if they have glasses, if they have shoes, if they have pants, not necessarily how many, but you may want to do that just for safekeeping. If they have anything valuable, if they have a watch and how much it's worth, if they've got a TV that they're bringing in, how much it's worth, whatever it is, it all goes on the inventory sheet. The inventory sheet is very, very important because if you have possible exploitation or theft, then you can go back to that inventory sheet to help clear the facility and the staff. So, an example, a resident comes up to you, they've been there for about 6 months. Resident comes up to you and says, well, my gold watch is missing. Okay. When did you last see it? Well, I'm not sure. And this will happen a lot when people don't know when they last saw it, or they don't know when they noticed it was missing, but they just thought to say something. So they'll tell you, well, I'm not sure when I last saw it. Okay. Do you remember where you last saw it? I'm not sure, but I know I had it here. Okay. So you can go help them look through their room, help them see if you can find it. And then, of course, you're going to let the charge nurse know. They may be able to go back to that inventory sheet in the chart, look on the inventory sheet and say, nope, you didn't bring a gold watch into the facility, and call the family. Maybe the family has the gold watch. Maybe that is a very, very important gold watch to that resident. It's a family heirloom, and the family didn't want it to get lost, so they didn't bring it. Mystery solved. We know the family has the watch. It's in safe hands. So that will really, really help if you've got something that's possibly missing that really isn't, or it can also help establish if something really is. So say they did have that gold watch on the inventory sheet, you can't find it, you call the family and they say, nope, Dad's had his gold watch there. So that can really, really kind of help support with that as well. So you want to follow your facility's procedure. It may be your job to help the family fill out the inventory sheet. It may be their job. So whatever it is. Mark their belongings. So you're going to mark the belongings. A lot of times facilities will use Sharpies to mark the clothes, or some places have these really neat things that are like a heat patch. So they can print out this label and iron on a patch that has their name on it. And those are really nice because the Sharpies tend to bleed through the back of clothes, and if you write it on the tag, they get really smeary and blurry, and then you can't tell whose clothes it is. But these iron-on labels, they don't ever get smudgy, and it doesn't show through the back of the clothes, so those are really kind of cool. Some places have them, some places don't. Whatever your facility policy is, mark the stuff with the resident's name. Now, one thing you may want to do is ask the resident and their family who's going to be doing their laundry. Because if the family's going to be doing the laundry, you don't want to mark those things. There's no reason to. So if the family comes in and gets the laundry and takes it home, washes it, brings it back, there's no need to mark it. If the facility is doing the laundry, there is definitely a need to mark it. Because if they do everybody's laundry together, how are they going to know who it goes back to? So kind of keep that in mind and follow your facility's procedure and what your resident plans to do. So you want to show your family and resident around the facility or the unit. So start with the immediate surroundings in the room and work your way out. Show them everything in the room and then maybe say, okay, well, at this end of the hall, this is where we have our sitting area. And you can come down here if you want to sit in the sun and talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, whatever. Then down here is the dining room. And tell them what time meals are. If you have meal times, or if you even if you have open times. If your facility says, okay, well, we serve breakfast from 7 to 9, lunch from 11:30 to 1, and supper from 5 to 6:30. Great. Tell them. Orient them to that unit. So you also want to tell the family areas that they may use. Show them the visitor bathrooms, because most of your facilities are not going to allow family to use the bathrooms in the room, especially if the person has a roommate. So that can be an infection control issue if you're not getting the toilet wiped down between each person. Maybe if somebody has some kind of infection or something going on. But anyway, show the family all the things that they're going to be using. Show them where the sign out book is. Because if you've got that person that likes to go out with their family and they don't sign out and they're missing, what is that going to look like? It's going to look like an elopement. So show them where the sign out book is. Kind of talk to them about the sign out rules. If they need to, if they can notify any of the staff when they're leaving and sign out, or if they notify the charge nurse specifically, or whatever the policy is at your facility. So make sure that you show them where that sign out book is. Show them where, the chapel is and the activities room and all the other stuff that the resident may want to do. So you want to listen to questions and concerns that are expressed by your resident and family. If they're concerned about, well, what happens when mom pushes the call light? Demonstrate the call light for them. Push the call light, and if you have the call lights that go to the pagers, you can push the call light, stand there, see how long it takes to go off on your pager. And just tell the family, anytime that my pager rings, then I go answer the call light as quick as I can. So this is your first opportunity to get to know the residents and their family, learn about the residents' needs and their preferences and life history. Because on admission, their care plan is not going to be finalized yet. So there's a lot of information that you normally would need to have that's not going to be in their chart yet or in their care plan. So you can get that information from the resident and from their family. So you want to observe how well the resident can move and perform activities. This is also, again, really important to help develop that care plan or the MDS. If you're seeing, well, the resident can kind of walk a little bit with the walker, but they have trouble with the longer distances, then maybe you can kind of talk to the nurse about that and see what you can do about it. So you want to check on that resident really frequently. Make sure that you build that confidence that the staff is available to assist. So your resident is really going to be counting on you to show up when they need you. Otherwise, family's going to wonder, why did I put mom in this facility if they're not even going to check on her? Or do I really need to worry about these people that are going to take care of mom? So build up that confidence, because remember, they're still in that Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs. Way down at the bottom, they're worrying about who's going to help them do everything. Then, once you've established that you're going to help them and meet those basic needs, then they can worry about everything else. Another type of move that the resident may be involved in is a transfer. So transferring means that the resident may move to different rooms or a different unit within the facility. Another term for transfer covers the resident moving to the hospital or to another facility. So you want to anticipate that the resident and family may be anxious about the changes because you have done such a great job and been such a wonderful aide that they don't want to leave you. They're kind of worried about, well, who's going to take care of me next? This is my home. I really like it. So you want to answer any questions. You want to communicate caring. Let them know that you are still here for them, even if they're not your resident anymore. You still want to, know that they're doing well. And you want to recognize the importance of consistency and continuity of care. So you want to recognize that hopefully the people that are going to be taking care of your resident when they go to a new unit or facility are going to be taking as good of care of them as you did. If you have the opportunity where you move someone just down the hall, then you're hopefully going to still be taking care of them. Or if they move to another unit but still in your facility, go with the resident and give a report. So give a good report to the oncoming person or the new person that's going to be taking care of them. Let them know what you know about the resident. Let them know their likes, their dislikes. That way, that person will have as much opportunity to have a good interaction with the resident as you do. Pass your wisdom along. It really, really helps. And that way, when you're on the receiving end of a transfer, hopefully someone will do that for you. Now, this is different when people go to the hospital or to another facility. You're not going to be the one giving a report. It's going to be your nurse. So you may think about some of the things. Well, I know Mr. Jones is going to be leaving today. He's going to go to, Shady Acres down the road. So think about some of the things that you may want that staff to know, and you can let your nurse know. Hopefully they'll include it in the report as well. So you want to help assist the resident and their family. You may be helping moving belongings. You may be helping them, hopefully not pack, but maybe move stuff down the hall or across the unit, or kind of get it all ready to go, get it out to the car. So handle all of their belongings with care, just like you would your own. Because think about some of those possessions that people have had for a long time, and they really don't want anything to happen to them because they're important. So use your inventory sheet as a guide. Everything that came in the resident should be going out with the resident. Now, I know that there may be some changes, so just kind of keep in mind that that inventory sheet is not just a piece of paper that you fill it out one time and it's done. That inventory sheet should be being updated throughout the stay of that resident. It's really easy to miss that. Say that resident did have their gold watch there. It was on the inventory sheet. Resident starts getting a little more forgetful, and the family decides, yeah, I think I will take that gold watch home, just so mom won't lose it, or dad won't lose it. Well, they forget to tell the staff, or they tell one person and that person doesn't pass it on. It happens. So normally, when they take that gold watch out, or if they bring a new one, then you'd want to update the inventory sheet. Again, sometimes it doesn't happen. I know we're kind of going back and forth with it. I'm talking about the inventory sheet and transfer. However, it is important to know that that inventory sheet should be your guide as to what the resident has, and should be updated throughout their stay with whatever leaves with the family and whatever new comes in that's valuable. So let's talk about discharge. Some of our people may actually get to go home or to another facility and go to a lower level of care. Maybe they don't need as much help as they have wherever you're at. So the resident may return home after rehabilitation or move to a different adult care home. So say you are working in a skilled nursing facility and the person has been on the rehab hall. They're better now. Maybe they're not quite good enough to go home, but they're well enough that they don't need to stay there. So they might be going to an assisted living. So that's great. That's considered a discharge. So just know that your resident and their family may have mixed feelings about the changes. Your resident may be super excited that they're getting out of your facility because they can do more for themselves now, and that's great. However, they've had you there all along that's been doing things for them and helping them. So they're kind of scared. They're excited at the same time, but they're really kind of scared. Can I really do this? Is this the right move for me? Am I going to be able to handle it? So those are kind of some of the things they're going to be thinking. Most people aren't going to say it, because think about if you're, saying, "Oh yeah, I got this," and then comes down time to it, and you say, "Well, not sure." People probably aren't going to have very much confidence in you, and they won't want you to complete whatever task that it is you're supposed to be doing. Same thing with a discharge. If the resident says, "Well, I'm not really sure I can do this," then they're probably not going to get out. So a lot of people will kind of keep that to themselves, but we want to make sure to encourage them to tell us if there's any other needs that they have whenever they're discharging. So we always want to answer their questions. Make sure that you communicate that caring, because again, you still care for that person even if they're not going to be your resident any longer. So you want to help them pack their belongings just like that transfer. Use that inventory sheet as a guide. Make sure that everything that came in is leaving with the person. So you might also assist the resident to travel and transfer to the vehicle. You may have to help them in a wheelchair, wheel them outside, and help them get into the car. And that's fine. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you are helping somebody get into a car, and this kind of goes almost into the home health class, but just a tip from there. If you're helping somebody get into a car, if they are in a 4-door car, you want them to sit in the front seat. Of course, you want them to sit in the front seat if it's a 2-door car, but even if you do have a 4-door car, you want them to sit in the front seat. You want to push the seat back as far as possible so that they have plenty of room to get in. And they may have to brace themselves on the door frame with the window rolled down just to kind of help. So you may be able to help, sit, have the person stand, hold on to the door. You're holding onto their gate belt because they've got their gate belt on. They can maybe stand up from the wheelchair, turn, and sit in the seat. Your job then may be putting their feet up in and helping them kind of swivel around. You might have somebody, another family member or another aide, helping you kind of pull the person over into the seat if they're not quite on their right. But that's how you can kind of get somebody into a car. So you want to make sure that they get safely into the vehicle and put their seatbelt on. So after a resident does discharge, you want to follow the resident's discharge housekeeping service. Following the resident's discharge, housekeeping services will thoroughly clean the room in preparation for the next admission. So there they might find, if housekeeping is cleaning and maybe they miss the phone charger and they bring it to you because you're the first person that they see. Take it to the charge nurse and just let them know, "Oh, Mr. Jones left his phone charger here. Can you call his family so that we can get it to him?" Be proactive with that. And that will still show that you care even after the person has left your facility. That's the end of the PowerPoint presentation, but I do want to kind of brush up on discharge a little bit more before we quite end. When you have somebody that discharges due to death, I know we've already talked about death and dying, but if someone has died in your facility and they're discharging due to death, then you may have to help prepare the body, and we've already kind of talked about that back in Unit 18, but you may still have to go through all of the similar motions of helping the family get all their belongings packed together. This probably is not going to happen the same day that the person dies, especially if they're in a long-term care facility setting. It might happen if they're maybe rehab hall and they don't have a whole lot of stuff there. But if they're long-term care, a lot of times the resident will pass away and then the family will have a few days to come back and clean up, all of their things and take them home with them. So just kind of keep that in mind. Well, that concludes our PowerPoint. Please let your instructor know if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day.